Gold and silver are showing positive signs this week, plus we take a quick look at platinum as well. This is your weekly precious metals price update and analysis brought to you by Ainslie Bullion and the Gold and Silver Standard. My name's Joe. Use the timecodes below to go to your favorite metal straight away. Let's do gold, then silver, then do platinum. You're looking at gold here on the weekly time frame, priced in US dollars, $2,016. Roughly, USD. We're using the tradingview.com website. Let's take a look at where we were last week very quickly to track what happened in the last 7 days. 2020 US dollars we were Tuesday last week, and we were above. We had been talking about the fact that we have been above with a little couple of spikes below, but above this downtrend line right here. So we had been looking positive so far, for at least we've been consolidating within a general range. So I was talking about the fact that if we break down through here and it closes on, say, a weekly time frame, you can have little spikes down, but as long as it closes above, we're still in good stead. But if we were to break down and close on the weekly time frame, for example, then it would be likely that we would head down to this support area here of 1,975 US dollars. Roughly, that's my first major target price forecast for a low in 2024. I'll put a link above to that for the gold price right now, our gold 2024 price forecast. But again, once again, that was my first little low target. So let's take a look at what happened in the last 7 days. Pop it onto the daily, and then pop in our indicators as well. And you can see we actually did spike below this downtrend line right here, but actually if I show you on the weekly time frame, might be a little bit easier to see. It was a very clear spike, but we actually closed just above it. So that is why I think it's still a positive sign for gold, and we'll get to silver in a second, but I think it's still a positive sign for silver for this week as well, and for the week potentially coming. There are some signs to look out for, so let's talk about those in just a second. But you can very clearly see it wasn't too long after the video from last Tuesday, last week's analysis, that we actually broke down below this level. Now we came down to a level of 1,985 US dollars, so it was not a move all the way down to this first low for 2024, my predicted potential low right there. So as you can see on the weekly time frame, again, a quick spike down on the weekly time frame and a close above. So that's why I'm positive at the moment. And also we did break back above, and this was just yesterday, through this rectangular range right here, this purple box, and that was a range of $2,009 to 2015-16, and we broke up through that to 2023 US dollars, and currently hopefully it looks like finding that as rough support. So in order for me to be confident that the coming week is going to be a positive one, a green week, or at least the next coming weeks, I would want to see the bottom end of this range hold right here. So that's at that $2,009, $2,010 level. If we come down here for the next couple of days, don't be alarmed. Finding support here is quite possible, and then breaking back up. Now, why that $2,009 area right here? It's a very key area. Let me get rid of that for a second. Let me show you on the monthly time frame, and you might even be able to see it on the weekly time frame. But right here we had this big move on the monthly right down to test, or it became the downtrend line right here. We had this spike down to $1,810. That was that false breakdown. And then in the month of October in 2023, you can see right here we had a high of right there. If you can see it up there, you can't see it, but it's $2,009.42 technically. So this was right here a key level of support for me right here at that $2,009, $2,010 level, and it has maintained as a level of support, at least on the weekly time frame. So you can see it right there. This is that spike. There's the monthly right there, and this is it here on the weekly time frame right there, that 2009, 2010. So you can see we have broken down, but it's usually remained a sort of closing level around that $2009, $2010 level. This is going all the way back to October, again, of 2023 of last year. We've had little spikes. You can see these. So on the weekly time frame, you can see these spikes, but we have remained above that $2009, $2010 area every single time, except the little ones here with those little cluster. But since there, remained above. So that's why I'm still positive for gold and silver so far. I do not have any cause for panic at this time. So let's take a look at the potential next targets, and you did see them last week. And welcome to all the new subscribers from this week, about 40 something new subscribers, I believe it has been. But right here, you've got this level of 2050 to 2060 US dollars. So in my opinion, of course, not financial advice, nothing I say here is necessarily the opinion of Ainslie, the group itself, but if we were to find support right here at 2009, 2010, and then bounce off and make a play out of this rectangular box right here, I would suggest that the next major resistance level is going to be at least here at 2050 US dollars. So that would be in the next week, roughly, next 7 days, 7 to 10 days, if we do find support here. Breaking through the 2009, $2010 level, you're going to come back and retest this downtrend line right there, and breaking through that, if that does not hold, we are absolutely going to be testing, in my humble opinion, the $1,975 level. From there, we're talking the bottom end of this trend line right here, but let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. So far, looking positive for gold, at least for this week, and you've got those levels that I want you to look out for. Of course, if you're dollar cost averaging into your precious metals, the price doesn't matter too much, but if you have a little bit of spare dry powder up the sleeve, a little bit of spare cash, then you're looking to buy the dip potentially. That is why these levels may help you. Now, that is gold. Let's take a look at silver. Silver also looking positive for this week. We saw this spike down. Let me show you very quickly the previous price action, $22.70 US cents. This is on the daily time frame. We had that move down. I've been talking about last week, and I can put a link below to last week's video if you like. I've been talking about this support level, and I had this drawn in at least for a couple of weeks, I believe, at $21.90. Very clear spike there, and another support level right there. So I was suggesting that while we're in this triangular pattern right here, we could come down to test the bottom end right here, and that could coincide round about that support level of $21.90 US cents. Let's take a look at where we spiked down to, and what do you know? Right there. So here is Tuesday of last week. So this is where we were. So that's that $22.70 area. That's where we were last week. Right here is where we were in last week's video at $22.70. So not long after last week's video, just like gold, we saw that spike all the way down. And then in the following day, we touched it pretty much perfectly at $21.94. So a very clear level of support. It was a fake out. You thought potentially that this uptrend line right here, the bottom end right here of this larger symmetrical triangle pattern right there, could have been taken out, but no, it was a false breakdown. And we also had been talking about last week a potential W pattern being set up. So right here, there's the left side of the W and the right side right there. And we talked about potentially, if we do break up through this little downtrend line right here, this interim downtrend line, that you might start to form a W pattern. Let's go back and look at that, and we've certainly seen that as well. So a breakdown to test support. It was a failed move to break down through here, so a fast move to the upside. So oftentimes from a failed move comes a fast move in the opposite direction, and what do you know, back up through this line right here, and to come pretty much back up in line with the left side of what looks to be, to me, a W pattern playing out right here. So clear W, in my humble opinion. Looks like we're coming back in the last couple of days. We might be retesting this downtrend line right here. That's the line in the sand I want to see, at least on the interim, on the weekly or on the daily time frame. I wouldn't want to see it break below this area here of, say, that $22.70 area again. I want to see that hold as support, and then potentially you could see this break up. Now, if this is a confirmed W pattern, if we do see a quick spike back up, then I would say that the next area of resistance is that $24.50 area, which I've had drawn in for quite a while. You can see quite clear levels of resistance over time. This is going back to December of 2022. You have a resistance there, failed move, fast move to the downside, etc. So lots of areas of resistance at $24.50. If the W plays out, you could see a spike up to there to test that. Now, what would invalidate that? Of course, breaking down through this trend line right here, and then I would suggest we might be making another play for this bottom end of this large symmetrical triangle pattern right there. I would suggest, say, 1, 2, 3 tests in the last couple of months. So 3 tests now since November of last year. I would suggest a 4th test coming very soon. Let me start that again. If we were to break down through this trend line right here and move closer to testing this again, I would say 4th time would probably be a charm, because there's been so many tests in a short period of time. So I really want to see it hold above that $22.70 area and bounce off, and then on our merry way upwards to that $24.50 area. Again, if you're dollar cost averaging, the price doesn't matter too much. What that means is you're buying every paycheck, for example, or once a month, a specific period of time, regularly, regardless of the price, and you're averaging your cost over time. But again, if you have some dry powder, some spare cash you're looking to load up, those are the levels that you need to watch out for. That is silver. Let's take a look at platinum. We haven't done platinum for a number of weeks now. Not a lot to say, just simply the fact that we are still within this trading range right here. We're in a larger, big trading range, and welcome to all the new subscribers. In the last couple of weeks, a whole bunch of new subscribers, so welcome. If you haven't seen my platinum analysis before, you have the very old high of February in 2008. That's a very large downtrend line that has failed to hold for any long period of time, I should say. You have some spikes above, but it fails to hold as support every single time it has broken back down. And within this longer term downtrend line, you have this little mini symmetrical triangle pattern playing out as well. So every time it's spiked, it has found that resistance right there. So we're still within that pattern. So just wanted to show you this very quickly, because we haven't done platinum for a little bit. We did have this spike. This is on the weekly time frame, so going back a number of weeks, we've already talked about it. We had this spike back above the trend line, but once again, a failed move, fast move to the downside. Popping on to the daily just quickly, and we'll have a look at the relative strength index as well. Again, nothing much to say. We're just within that trading range of between roughly, that's $840 area, which is a level of support I've had drawn in for quite some time, but yet to break through the bottom end of this triangle pattern right there. Not a lot to say. We are tracking, looks like we're tracking up on the relative strength index on the daily time frame, so you could potentially see a move back up to test this area right here. That would be at around about $975 US. You can see a couple of areas of resistance right there. And on the weekly time frame, let's look at the RSI. It's currently still under its yellow average line right there, so I would say the sky is not clear enough yet to say that platinum will be breaking anytime soon, so just trading within that range. That is really it, but I would say for all the newbies who are following platinum for the first time with these videos, that's what you want to see. You want to see a break above this downtrend line right here, preferably coming up to break this area right here, but we at least need to have this as an area of support for at least, I would say, 6 to 8 weeks, so a couple of months at least, because every single time so far it has broken back down. So give me your personal opinions on platinum. I'd love to hear them. Of course, if we do break down below this 840 level, just for, again, for the newbies watching for the first time, my platinum analyses, breaking down that level right here, clear area of support at $840 US, been so since we are talking September of 2020, yet to break down. So it has been acting as a great bit of support, but if it does break down and breaks particularly through this uptrend line right here, I would suggest that 840 would not be an area of support. I would suggest we'd be coming down to a very clear area of support at 750 US dollars. That was one of my low targets for the platinum price forecast for 2024. I'll put a link above to that right now, and I'll put it in the pinned comment as well. You can check out my forecasts, my levels moving higher potentially for 2024, but we've just got to break out of this area right here and break once again out of this long-term downtrend line. The day or the month that we do at least hold for a couple of months will be a great month indeed, and then you could be more confident to say that platinum is heading onwards and upwards, but just within that range at the moment. So that is platinum. We've done gold and we've done silver. We'll do a crypto next week. I'm probably eyeing off Ethereum for next week, but if you have anything else that you would like to see analyzed, please let me know in the comments below, or even jump on our Twitter page at Ainslie Bullion. So Twitter, Ainslie Bullion is our handle. And let us know. Thank you very much for watching. That's your weekly precious metals price update and analysis. Balance your wealth in an unbalanced world. Take care, and we'll see you next time.